Hey, this is Christy with brightspiritrising.com, and I want to talk a little bit about how spirit animals can actually help you. Like, it's really interesting to learn about them and kind of what they say about you, but I think we can really start using them, asking them to come in to help us to find our purpose, to manifest our desires, to manifest abundance, because that's really what they're about. They're about showing us, teaching us. They're mentors, they're guides, teach us how to actually live on the earth, not just in our heads. So, before I start, if you've seen a few of my videos, or even if you get a good feeling about this one, hit like, subscribe. The sending out videos every moon phase, full, new, and quarter moons on spirit animals and related topics. All right, so let's get down to business here. Today we're just going to work with Dolphin. And love Dolphin. Dolphin's a real playful animal, just has fun. So I'm looking at this as, what can Dolphin teach us about really living in joy, following our bliss, living our purpose? Okay, because when we are living our purpose, that is a very, very joyful experience, right? And you've all heard the phrase, follow your bliss. But let's look at what Dolphin had to do as a species to follow its bliss. I don't know if you're aware of this, but dolphins didn't always live in the ocean. Okay, so they evolved from a creature that lived on land, creature very like a hippo. Okay, and they had four legs, and they lived very much like a hippo, kind of on the riverbanks and so forth. And they started to eat fish. And what happened was that this animal, whatever, as a species, realized that it loved to eat fish and it loved the water more than it loved the land. So it started spending more and more time in the water, and eventually, as the eons went forward, began to its limbs began to turn more into flippers. It had a progression of creatures that had evolved through. It evolved first into something that looks sort of like an otter or something like that, and then into something more like a seal, that would still come on land, and then eventually into the dolphins and whales that we know. Okay. And so it had to make some trade-offs to live this life. And if you feel into a dolphin and just their energy, it is just the most blissful, fun, playful energy on earth, I think, in terms of an animal. Um, but what they had to give up in order to get where they're at. And this is significant because they had to give up, the ability to get around on land, because they had been a creature that was on both land and sea, land and water. And that was a lot of freedom, if you look at it that way, right? A lot of freedom to be in multiple environments, to pursue different things. They, any animal that has any kind of the front legs or whatever, it's got a certain ability to manipulate its environment. And Dolphin had to give up all that. But in exchange, it got this blissful life that it was seeking. And it really, I think this painting that I did, the dolphins, really, it's a channel painting, and it really, I, I feel, just channels this joy that they have in the freedom of, it's like when you're swimming, you lose the gravity, right? And it just becomes buoyant. So this is what they chose and had to give up all this other stuff for. So if we look at our own lives, and if we're looking at any kind of process of finding our purpose or ascension, right, coming into who we are, it always requires us to give stuff up. And I work a lot with people who are in this process of ascension or process of awakening. And what happens with a lot of people as they start to awaken is that things get stripped away. They, they grow out of relationships. Relationships either, people fall out of their lives or they have to leave, relationships that aren't serving them. It happens with jobs. Like it's so common, to lose jobs or to change careers. It happens in physical locations, having to move. And it can happen with a self-identity too, right? Because, well, especially related to some of these things like, your relationship, you identify yourself according to your relationships, you identify yourself according to your career, according to where you are. And when these things move away, we have to really consider, well, what do we actually want to create in our lives, all right? And that's the first thing. It's like when Dolphin, had to really realize at some level as a species that it loves to eat fish and it loves to be in the water. Okay, so just first of all, recognizing, what it is that really turns you on, what it is that lights you up. And then, as you move towards that, starting to recognize, what do I need to let go of? What isn't serving me? What trade-offs do I need to make? Because we can't do it all. And this is a really, really hard lesson for a lot of us who are very creative, who are very innovative, right? If you're the kind of person that loves to do different things, many different things, and has skills and is able to do many different things, well, it can be really, really hard because everything's an adventure, right? You want to do it all. And just like Dolphin was able to be in water and on land, but they eventually, to follow their bliss, had to choose, right? So ask yourself this week, what is my bliss? And then, what do I have to develop? What do I have to really focus on in order to follow that bliss? Because Dolphin had to really develop its lung capacity. It had to develop the ability to breathe on the top of its head, right? It had to develop this powerful tail, whatever. These are the things that he's developed. And in developing those, it had to let things fall away. Okay, so what is it in my life that, where is my real bliss? What might I need to trade off? What might I need to say goodbye to? And these may be really tough decisions. So, just encouragement is to spend a little time just feeling into these things and being honest with yourself. Just being really honest, because when you do start to follow your bliss, and even if and it may take a long time to get there, it took a long time for Dolphin to get from a hippo thing to the dolphin that we know. It took millions of years. It's not going to take you millions of years, because you can do it in your lifetime. But it's a process. But it starts with being aware of, first of all, what is your bliss, and second, what are the trade-offs that might need to happen in order to get there. All right, so I hope you've enjoyed this. If you have, please share it with somebody that you feel could use that, and please comment below. I'd love to hear what you think, as well as if there's any questions you have you'd like me to do a video on. Let me know. Love you all, and catch you next moon phase.